How are we doing today, everyone? This is a question from the African saying, I'm having a bit of a technical difficulty today, but hey, what can you really do? But hey, welcome to This Week in Football. We are taking a look of some of the stories that have caught our attention. If you're new here, we dropped off, and now, again, technical difficulties all around, but we are definitely managing up. So, again, this is a question from the African saying, how are you doing today, guys? How are we feeling? So much has happened this past week, and I just realized as we go on, there's so much happening this coming week with World Football. But again, if you're new here, we do primarily Canadian content, but we do cover African football as well as European club football. We've had a return to that, so feel free to leave a question, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel and just what caught your attention this week. I mean, the big story this week definitely was the end of some qualifiers. We have most of the playoff positions which are set, but then we also have moving forward the World Cup draw and a few more interesting aspects happening coming through. So feel free to give us a subscribe. If you like the content, give us a like on the video. A like never hurts. And then just continue. Ask us a question if you got something that has really caught your attention moving forward with that. My week has been a bit up and down. Oh, it's been a bit up and down to say the least. We started off mainly following the Canadians as they were trying to qualify to do. Able to qualify for 1986. That was a good time. Then we saw Ghana also qualify for the World Cup. So double the pleasure, double the fun. Knowing my luck, both my teams will then not be able to come, but I'm excited nonetheless. And then we had the World Cup draw, which took place. We'll definitely cover that. But then as we got to this weekend, we definitely have more interesting aspects, whether that be the races coming down to the last week, 8 games left for the most part in most league play coming up, as well as a few interesting aspects coming. So I am looking forward to really see how these leagues end up, see who's able to come through. A bit of a slippage, but definitely battle for those Champions League positions is really starting to tighten up in different leagues. So we're definitely going to look at the tables in the Premier League. We'll look at Serie A. We'll also look at La Liga, while also highlighting the many things that are coming. Matt, from a football standpoint, I forgot Champions League was this week coming up. So here I am preparing. I'm like, okay, there's a few things here. This is interesting. Let's see what else we can follow and see what's happening. But man, there's so much in terms of content, so much in terms of football that's happening. Then on the Canadian side in CONCACAF, we have Nations League that is going to be drawn this week. So we'll see some Nations League draws and seeing where the teams find themselves. We'll also see aspects like the U20 roster, which may be dropping. And then on the women's side, we definitely have the Celebration Tour for Canada happening on Thursday, moving on Friday on the 8th and then the 11th. So there's a lot of football coming up. But guys, if you're here, no one's here as of yet, and it's not a problem, but we're definitely going to enjoy the time here, guys. So jump in, leave us a question if you have something. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what football stories have caught your attention this past week, and then we'll definitely move in and get into it as we go. All the fun. Good times were there. All right. So let's kind of go through some of this and see what we have, what we've missed, what we have going on. We can definitely start off with this. And I know there have been so many videos, and there's definitely more content from us coming as well. But let's really get started with World Cup groups, which I mean, many of you have seen them, many of you haven't. That was probably the big story for me, other than the qualification, which kind of runs into it. Seeing to qualify for this for in my lifetime, she's seeing Ghana qualify for the fourth World Cup in 5 trips. I've been spoiled. I've seen 5 World Cups, 4 World Cups for a country, and that is something that I mean, from an African team, that's a lot of consistency. Hey, and we're there. So there's definitely interesting groups, definitely interesting aspects. And I'm also wondering, I want to ask this question to you here as well. Is there, after the World Cup draw came out, Inaki Williams' name was trending out? I thought it was just because there was a lot of Ghanaians who were excited to have through, but apparently this was everywhere. So this this definitely has turned into this entire thing where all of a sudden we were watching and Inaki Williams was trending because he had liked a post where Ghana was celebrating making the World Cup and it came through. Got a lot of people excited, wondering if he may switch through. So, in case you are unfamiliar, Inaki Williams and his brother Nico Williams are Ghanaian, but they've grew up for the most part and play their club ball in Spain. Inaki has been capped by Spain, but due to the FIFA eligibility rules, he would be eligible to come and play for Ghana as he hasn't represented the national side in more than 3 years. And it's got a lot of people playing and curious because on both sides, you have a player, for example, who is thinking maybe we can get one individual to come through, you know. But then on the other side, you have a player who's also said he doesn't maybe feel that nation, kind of opens it up. But because we have so much time, man, there's going to be so many talking points coming through. So we're definitely excited to see what comes of it and what. And I think the question I want to ask, just kind of an overall thread, is if there was one player you could see change their nationalities out of the 32 countries, who would you want to see change that nationality and come through? I'm very curious to see what some of your answers are. I know from on the Ghanaian side, there's a lot of different names that can come through. I'm just going to finish that up. But as we do that, let's enter to the chat. Mr. Saho, how are you doing, good sir?
Yo, thank you for having me,
Still
man. It's a
not
pleasure.
unmuted. Not a problem when we hear.
Sorry, I think it froze on my end. Let me try re-signing in.
Just overall, because yeah, World of Football results, no, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm having all the technical difficulties today. So we are hoping that I'm coming through, but we're definitely going to spend some time. So if you are just jumping in here, if you're watching real quick, again, the question, which stories are following up? And just as an overall arching question, if you could have one player switch their nationalities coming up, and I'm getting a lot of buffering here, which is interesting because I even reset for this. So it's that type of a day, and it's that type of a day. All righty. Let's see if we are being heard. Mo, are you hearing me? Yes, you're a little choppy, so I'm not sure if that's you or if that's me. It's probably me, based off of the day that my computer is now giving me.
Actually, yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine, but it seems like your screen is actually frozen.
Let's give us a second here. Any better here, Mo?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. So I think I know what it was. I hope that it is. If it isn't that, then it becomes a whole nother conversation. But no, there's a lot of interesting stories coming in the world of football. How was your week? Did you watch anything this week? What caught your eye? Talk to us here.
Chelsea's lost. Let's just dissect that, please. I just want to dissect that. That was
Let's dissect
highly
this. So, yes.
unacceptable. Like I could not believe my eyes. I was watching the game and I was like, oh, you know what? It's Chelsea. They're gonna win it anyway. 1-0 up. I'm like, man, no big deal. And then not even like 2-3 minutes later, boom, goal. I'm like, okay, that was a silly mistake Chelsea made, but they'll score again. And then Chelsea received another goal, and another, and another. At that point, I couldn't get my eyes off of the screen. Internally, I was celebrating because I don't like Chelsea, but it was quite the shock. It was quite the shock to see them go down by Brentford of all teams.
It was interesting. It was interesting. No, that definitely was the result I think caught my eye this weekend because it was just, what are you doing, Chelsea? They're not in any peril. Let's be clear at this
Of
point,
course, no.
because they still have the one game at hand. So, but it's not a good thing because now instead of them being comfortably in third, they JD just dropping this was very bad on the day. Brentford never shook. No, and I think that's the thing because Chelsea's lost here. Instead of them being comfortably, say, at 62 and being comfortably in third, now we have to have conversations and say, could Spurs catch them? I mean, could they?
Probably not. Spurs is not
Technically,
that good of a team. Let's all be honest. They're not
no,
that good of a
probably
team. They're not
not.
catching anybody.
No.
Yeah, they have their own worries, just
But we
trying to
have to now
stay
have the
in the
conversation.
top four.
But like that's the thing. We went from them being comfortable to us now thinking, are they though? And man, of all teams with turmoil, I mean, look, Chelsea, what are you doing? Lukaku is having press conferences. Um, Tuchel is losing the room. Apparently, I don't like this. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? I mean,
What are they doing?
so here's the thing. Chelsea, I won't lie, they dominated the entire game. But I don't know if it was an off day for the front three or something, but they were not capitalizing on their chances. It's not like they didn't have chances. They had chances. And it's a wonder goal that they even had that saved them. You know, that blast, I don't know where it came from, but it happened. It shocked even the Chelsea players. I bet in training he's that one player that can never score a goal. You know, and then he comes out and then delivers this. It was a shocker to everybody. But
it was.
After that, it was
Rudiger scoring was just like, what is this? I almost look. I almost had like
they were holding their head in shock. They were like,
it's like, what is this?
In training, man can never score a goal, and here he is blasting one to the corner of the net.
And you know, this is a bad comparison, but you know what I thought when he scored it? I was like, he's gonna try it again, and he's not gonna hit it. And he tried it again. It was just so terribly. It was like Rudiger, like looking at the. It's not the same strike, but I don't know if you remember this back in 2005. I think it was the Essien goal against Arsenal, Chelsea versus Arsenal, where they lay the ball off and he just boots it from the midfield and beats the goalie, and everyone's just like, what is this? What is happening? Right? That's what my mind went to initially. But then I was just like, no, he's going to try to do it again.
Oh, wow.
There's a difference in that, man.
Yeah. And Christian Eriksen, let's talk about his comeback.
Yo, honestly,
oh, wow.
And this is why at the same time when we were having like looking at the World Cup draws, and like we'll get to that, I was like, I don't want to draw Denmark. It's the only team you can play, and no one will. And you're the bad guys. You're not allowed to be Christian Eriksen. You're just not. So now you want him to show up and be like, yeah. So it's Canada versus Denmark, the feel good story versus the comeback we never saw coming. You're just like, sorry, Christian, I'm sorry. I don't want to be this.
No,
person,
but his goal was spectacular. I think he was the one who scored second or third.
Goal, yeah.
Second, right?
I think it was the second goal. Yeah.
Yeah, he scored second. Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful, beautiful strike from him. I mean, he followed up from deep all the way to support. Like, it was like he was the striker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he did a great job covering the midfield. He was everywhere. You know, you couldn't tell that he just came from a very severe, it's not even an injury, medical condition. Like he recovered from a severe medical condition to put on a performance like that.
Truthfully,
he was good.
It's great to see him come back, man. But no, Chelsea losing is definitely the interesting thing. I think from I wish they, and this is an interesting way to put it. Like, as you know, Wolves is my team, and Wolves 2 weeks ago I said, win these games or just stop being in it and just drift away. And Wolves has decided to drift back up, and now I have to think, could they do it? Could they really do it? Don't do this to me. I don't need Portugal FC to do this to me.
But
I think they're a lost cause, but I think it's what is interesting is with Wolves coming up, Villa, I mean, the gap is there. It's really 4 through 5 are 4 through 5 are really tight. Yes, West Ham can get back into it, but West Ham just seems to be, they feel like they're slipping to me.
No, West Ham is definitely slipping. If Man U win their next game, they're going up top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then you have Leicester City, who has, 3 games in hand?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying West Ham is slipping. West Ham doesn't have the games in hand to catch up. There's no doubt about that.
They're slipping. Like, Leicester City will come, Man U will come.
No, Leicester, okay, Leicester, stop. Okay, Look where Leicester is on the table. It's there for a reason. Okay,
How
Leicester's
many
at
games do they have to
37.
play? They have 3 games that they need to play
3.
here to catch up with anybody.
Yeah, 9 points
9
puts them
points.
at 48. Okay, 48. You have to win those games. Okay, you have to win those games. So,
Leicester City. I don't know what happened to them, but
mhm. No,
I
JD,
tried to
thanks for
defend
stopping
them,
by,
but it's
man.
ended up in ultimate failure. So
It
don't
does.
mind me.
Like no, because like when we were at the beginning, like my brother was Leicester's a team is going to come out and like really, but we're basing this off of the run they had how many years ago? It's not 2000 and what anymore, but they have the games at hand, and if they put together a string of results, they have an opportunity to really push themselves now to the brink
That's true.
of Conference League, to Europa League as well. So they do have some options. There's no doubt about that. But I think for me, it's like it's the title is City or Liverpool, which at this point I want
Oh,
to say it's probably going to be Liverpool, but we've seen City have hiccups, right? City had their loss, City had their draw last week. Liverpool has just been on good form. So the question is, how many hiccups do you have left? Right? I don't have the full. We'll pull up the schedule at some point, but like that's the question you're after them. Can they continue their form and stay, or is
mhm.
someone slipping? Chelsea should be safe at third. They should be. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
They
but nobody cares about
should
that.
be.
Interesting part. I mean, the interesting part is the Man City and Liverpool game that's coming up.
Mm-hmm. That
Because
is definitely the game we want to watch. Yeah.
right, it's like a major deciding factor. If
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool beat Man City, which they are, not just saying that because I'm a Liverpool fan, but once they beat Man City, they're at the top of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And Liverpool hasn't lost a game in the last 16 games. They haven't lost a
Yeah.
single one.
Yeah. It's about right.
Right? It's
So that's
quite
where
the
it comes
momentum.
into it. Yeah.
It's quite the
Mm-hmm.
momentum.
So you have them. Arsenal still has 2 games at hand, so they can definitely catch if they wanted to. 2 games. They're 1 game behind Chelsea. Arsenal could catch them. I don't think they will, but Arsenal could. And then it comes down to West Ham slipping, Wolves trying to act like they're still in it, and Man U not Man Uing this. So, United, don't do the thing where you choke here. Man, it's like, but it's a thing.
It is honestly a thing where I can, man, I'm tired of talking about Manu because they're like a sinking ship that just refuses to go under.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that they're doing is taking buckets of water and shoveling out the water as it comes in. So, it's hard to see them make progress. Whenever they make progress, it seems like they take one step forward and 20 steps back.
2 steps back. Yeah.
I'll say 20
It's like they'll have a
because
good,
it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
that's
They
the
go
thing.
from, they're making it
Mm-hmm.
to, oh my God, they're garbage.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what Man U
No,
is
no
operating
doubt, no
on right
doubt.
now. And their little stints of
Yeah.
victory, they don't last long.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So I think from that aspect, then if we assume Man U doesn't do it, then Wolves comes through. Okay, that's interesting. I talk about relegation, but no one's really watching relegation. But I think Newcastle's done enough to get out.
Mhm.
Leeds, I think, stays out. And the real question is at the bottom of it. Let me actually pull it. Relegation, like no, I mean everyone's fascinated with relegation draws. I know, but I think the interesting thing is going to be, yeah, because right now you got Norwich, Burnley, and Watford in your bottom 3. SAR's leaving. I don't care. Sorry, you better be leaving Watford. You are not going back to the championship. Okay,
Yeah.
Everton. I just don't trust them. I think they could hold on. I don't. I think I've seen enough from Leeds to say they're not going to get relegated, but with Marsh there. But man,
Yeah.
Everton, y'all are playing with fire. I know you have games at hand, but you guys need to win those games, okay?
Oh, yeah. They need to win
It's
all
one
their
in your
remaining
last
games.
5
All of
isn't
them.
enough.
Yeah, all of their remaining
Mm-hmm.
games. And,
That's true.
so here's the thing. Liverpool they have a more, like the remaining 9 games, are more
Mhm.
hectic than Man City's remaining 9 games. That is the only
Yes.
like scary part, because they have to
Mhm.
play Watford, Aston Villa, they have to play Man U, Everton, and Tottenham as well. And they have to play
Yeah.
Wolves. Like it's just their matchups versus Man City's. I don't even know who they're playing, but I think that the only big team that they're playing is Liverpool and Aston Villa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's
No, fair,
that's about it,
fair.
right? So, I mean,
Yep.
it'll be a tough
Definitely on that aspect.
last
But
quarter.
no,
Yeah.
it will be. And I think at that bottom, again, we'll watch it because hey, that's money. You're playing with, as the Jamaicans say, that's food to feed there, man. So we're messing with
Right.
people's plates here. We're not we don't want to be playing with that here. So let's see how that turns out. And that's like a quick look at the Premier League, pretty
Mhm.
much. When you go to La Liga, yo, because Nelson brought this up to me and like we wanted to talk about this, but I mean, so Barca's in second, and we had I mean, 2021 happened. We looked at Barca and said, no, they're going to be terrible. And here they are. They get Xavi in, and now they're second. Pedri with a goal. Sevilla beating Sevilla today. They are now with a game in hand. They're not catching Madrid.
No.
If they catch Madrid, that says more about Madrid than it says about Barca. But Barca's second in the table.
I
Like
was
that to me, that's not meant. That's surprising to me.
listen. I say Javi, he's a mastermind. That man is a
Apparently,
mastermind, and to see him taking his like he knows what he's doing, and he knows he has a vision for Barca right now, and everybody can see it.
yes.
You know how some coaches they take time. It takes time for people to even know what they're doing, like Mourinho. It takes time
Mhm.
for anybody to know what he's doing. It's only
Yeah.
until they get into the finals of whatever game they're playing or down to the wire for you to realize, oh, that's what he wanted to do. But Xavi has a clear vision for Barcelona right now, and he's putting it in
Mhm.
motion, and it's showing. You know,
It is
yeah.
impressive because when they were talking about Xavi taking over and he's in Al Sadd at I think it was Al Sadd in Qatar, however we want to say it. I was like, yeah, Xavi's the right person for this for Barca. And like in like a year or two, like let him coach a little bit more, and then let's go through. Now, granted, I mean, we're giving the man roses for being second in the table, right? I mean, so like before someone comes at me is like he's in second place. Look, if you heard how we were talking about Barca at the beginning of this year, we are surprised.
Very.
Okay,
We're
we are
shook.
very surprised. Now, granted, that team had talent, so like you can't deny that talent. But the way that they've been able to get players in, getting Traore, getting Aubameyang on his last legs to still be able to produce, right? Or apparently he has more than last legs. He'd like to let us know that. So it's like those things, right? Shifting the pie a little bit into lesser of a role and having more players, you can still rely on Pedri. Ansu Fati, when he's been healthy, he's been able to contribute. Yeah, Ansu Fati is like Ansu Fati is Dippin' Dots. It had a hot summer, and we're waiting for it to come back, but like it just hasn't come. But man, if that player can stay healthy, that team
Or if we can get
changes
into
to me.
form at any point in time.
Yeah, just where we've moved past healthy. Just be on the pitch. If you're on the pitch, we're happy. That's all we're asking for. Man, that is but yeah, what Xavi's done with the squad has been interesting, man. Guys, if you're stopping by real quick, thank you for the likes. Appreciate it. But then again, what stories in football caught your attention this week? We already covered the Premier League. We're looking at La Liga right now and just kind of looking at how it looks and how it's kind of breaking down with your four Sevilla. That's an interesting side looking at them because if you're looking just based off past results, Madrid, a bag of wins. Barca, a bag of wins. Atletico Madrid, a bag of wins. Sevilla, hanging on. And that's interesting to me because Sevilla is going to be interesting to me because now I'm going to be watching them because they got Bonu, they got Moroccan players. I got to start watching for World Cup purposes. Not that I wasn't watching them to begin with, but honestly, looking at them and seeing what they're doing, seeing is Sevilla able to actually hold on and finish the season in that top four spots? Or will Betis get in or Sociedad get in? That's very interesting to see what that team can go through. But guys, you let me know, looking at La Liga, what is interesting. Are you impressed with Xavi being able to actually put the team together and get them to perform to this level? They're second in the table. Again, we're giving roses for a team being second on the table, but they're able to really do well. And I think they're getting results. And I don't think a lot of us saw them finishing second at the beginning, but they're there. Still have games to go. But I think you have to give a little credit to Xavi for what he's been able to do taking over for Coleman. I think you have to give the man his flowers here because he has done a good job. He has definitely done a good job in terms of getting this team to perform, getting players who weren't performing out and getting players who could perform in. So, got to give that man his flowers in that sense. No doubt about it. Guys, if you are here again this week, what stories have caught your attention? If there's something that caught your attention you think we should talk about, we should talk. Leave it in the comments. Let us know. If not, thank you for the likes, guys. If you haven't, we do primarily Canadian, look at African, club football. Not just what we're looking at here. We'll definitely get to some things. There's a lot happening on my end for football this week that I didn't realize. And the more you look and I refresh my calendar, the more I realize, oh, there's that happening too. Interesting. Very interesting. But man, yeah, guys, let me know what stories caught your attention this week in the comments. Feel free to, and then give us a subscribe. If not, with everything that we are doing. Man, oh yeah, but yeah, that is a brief look at La Liga. Kind of going. Lastly, we want to kind of pay attention to was looking at Syria and looking at how that has looked, and seeing how this table has really started to shape up. I think this is of the three leagues that we've covered, definitely the more interesting one. Milan's still in front, but Inter with a game in hand. Really wish they could have got more than a draw. So that would have really prompted them back in. Yes, 62 is better than 60. If they were able to get a win today, they really could have given themselves a shot. You got Juve sitting in fourth, being able to string some wins together after the McKennie injury, which is good to see for them as a squad. Lazio, Atalanta, and then Roma. Will Mourinho be able to get his team into something? I mean, he's only 1 point out of Europa, and that's the interesting thing. I think Juve, you maybe thought Juve might drop, but with Inter being pretty solid at this point, most leagues having 8 games left to go, man, what are your guys' thoughts on the world of Serie A? The world of Serie A, man. What has caught your attention there? Napoli still holding up at the top. Osimhen having a good year as per usual. Quiet in Africa, but good in Italy. Good on him from that aspect. Milan doing well. Inter, Juve, Lazio. I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised, but maybe how Roma's hot start, we expected a little bit too much out of them to begin with. But then after that, it just seems like they started to fade. And once the fading seemed to have continued, they're just outside of it. And that is I think they may be able to get the Conference League, but I don't think you're happy with Conference League. There's no doubt about that. 1 point out, but then less wins, goal differential is really dropping you down. I think Roma definitely has an opportunity, but they have a game. Atalanta has a game in hand, and 1 win pretty much gets them over Lazio. 2 wins for them actually would get them just 1 win. Actually, 1 win should get them about 5 points out of the Champions League, and I think that's where you want to be. Everyone wants to be Champions League, get those opportunities, get the matchups, get lost dollars, but really does have an opportunity to go through. So definitely, there Mo have to step off for some internet, but he'll be back, guys. But yes, let me know if you are here, if you're stopping by for a quick minute. Let me know what stories have caught your attention. Let me know how you're feeling about your club team or what story in football really grabbed your attention this past week. Man, coming up this week, there is a lot of football action to get to, but there's definitely conversations to go through. And a definitely a question we will be asking a little bit later. So you guys can definitely think of it. If there's a player who you could switch their nationalities for your team, who would it be? Now they have to be eligible. You can't just do this adding players for the sake of adding players. But if there's a player who was eligible for your country, you can get the switch. Who would you want to do that? And mainly because after the World Cup draw happened, Inaki Williams' name was trending, and I was actually surprised. I thought it was just because I follow a lot of Ghanaian content creators and whatnot, so I thought it was just it's a Ghana thing. No, this was everywhere. So I found that very interesting. But that's the question we want to ask for you to think about. Be our last real talking point for today. But if there's one player who is eligible for you who can get switched to your national program, who would it be? Throw it into the comment if you're stopping by for a quick second, but we'll definitely get to that because it's a very interesting concept and a very interesting conversation to have, especially with the new FIFA rules for 3 years eligibility moving from there. All right, he is back. He is ready. He is not. Is he static still? Mo, you there?
Yeah, I can hear you now perfectly well. That's
Perfect.
perfect.
All right, so Serie A, last league we wanted to kind of look at in terms of teams happening and things happen. Milan still in first. Inter had an opportunity but drew. I mean, 60 is fine. 62 put them in a safe spot. Juve has been able to stay in form, even though they've had a few injuries with McKinney and whatnot. Lazio there. Mourinho's Roma they're there, but it just feels like this season is a disappointment if they're not in the top 4 spots. And it would take a collapse by one of those teams and a good run from any of those 3 here to really get into it, right? So, like, how are you feeling? I know for us Africans, we were looking at Napoli and be like, Osimhen, I see you. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see you in Ghana or Nigeria, but I see you in Italy.
Man, I mean, Napoli is a big disappointment for me. I will not lie. You know, I like
you're in second. What more do you want from them?
I thought that because they had a solid lead at some point, like a solid lead.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they had a solid lead. They're in second, but they could have been in first. Napoli could have taken the title.
But they're one result from being in first. Let's be real. They're just one result for being in first because they're up on goal difference. So they just one result.
You do know that Milan still has a game to play. Milan still has a game to play, and Inter still have a game to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they could end up
but Napoli's at I know. Yeah.
It's like Syria right now is so tight, and between these 3 teams, like it's a back and forth. It's a back and forth, and Milan are the only one who are maintaining the momentum right now. Like they're not giving into anything. You know, and all their wins are like 1-0. You know, they have so many 1-0 games. It's like they won, or they won 2-1. They won 3-2. You know, they won 1-0. A lot of those. There is no game that they've actually, like, there are very few games where they have actually dominated and trashed a team. Like, completely trashed the team. You know, it's 2-0.
You can look at that stylistically.
Yeah. So, them maintaining, like, they're just getting by. You know, and they are riding that wave right now and staying at top. But Napoli, to me, Napoli has a stronger team. They should be demolishing these people. They're not taking advantage of it. And you know, if the season, what I'm predicting right now is by the end of the season, Napoli is going to be third. Napoli is going to be third, Inter second, Milan first, and Juventus fourth. It's that simple. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not hard to see based off how tight they are at this point. I mean, I understand the frustration with that team, but I mean, they are where they are for a reason, right? At the end of the day, the numbers won't lie, right?
Yeah.
So, like, yes, whether it's injuries, whether it's just inconsistent play, whether you're just Man U, like your numbers will tell you why you're there for a reason, you know?
That is true. I mean, yeah, that is very true. But they have such a good lineup. They have injuries, but they have a massive lineup. You know, and I mean, like AC Milan, they're playing Zlatan of all people. The man is 40.
Age is
And
the
he's
number,
destroying
man.
these kids.
Age is the number, apparently, for elite players.
Right? Like, he is at a number where you're just like, how is he going on? How is he going on? But he's proving to be very threatening in front of goal.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very threatening.
No.
You know, and people like, they don't give him enough props for what he's done. Right? He's been injured a lot of times. He's been injured. But if he wasn't injured, I don't know. Personally, he would have been at the top of the goal list of the top scorers. He would have been up there if he didn't get injured as many times as he did.
Probably.
Yeah.
And that's a fair aspect for it. But I think for what they've done so far, right. That's a fair point. They'll be fine. I think top 3, yes, is disappointing. There's no doubt about that. But they are still holding on to qualify. They still get their Champions League spot. They're still kind of flowing that way. So I think for them, I think they definitely want that top spot. There's no doubt about it. But there's a level of disappointment where I agree with you there. I mean, that's Serie A. I mean, that's the top. The bottom of the table, Venezia, man, just for the kits. Get out. Guys, please. I need these kits in Serie A, so please. Like, get out.
Right? And then let's talk about Inter. You know, their lineup is insane. Yet still, what are they doing? What is
Nothing.
Inter Milan doing at this point?
Well,
they drew with Torino.
And I think that's the disappointment where I'm like, you could have put yourself back in the conversation with a win. But the draw is disappointing for them. If they had a draw, they're back in there.
You know, they could have capitalized on all those games and gone to the top of the table, hands down. They could have capitalized and just been at the top of the table, just sitting there, you know, waiting for the rest to catch up. They have Laturo, they have Martinez, Zeko, Perisic, you know, Barella. They have, man.
No, Martinez is definitely, that's a fair shout, because Martinez is definitely a player that I remember me and Nelson were like, yeah, this guy is if I'm trying to poach someone real quick, let me buy a quick Martinez real quick. I know it's going to be expensive, but maybe I don't want to pay Mbappe money, but maybe I can get
not even close. Not even close. But still, he'll be one of those people you want to build around.
Yeah. You know? He's the hey, Newcastle, don't go. You can spend money, but don't spend Mbappe money. Get Martinez money.
Like what Man City did for Tevez back in the day, right?
Yes, that's a good comp there.
Yeah, that's just go for it. Newcastle should definitely sign him. I mean, he's a good player, and he's still hot. The man knows how to score a goal, but they should find somebody to team him up with, like what he had with Lukaku, because he still hasn't found that form yet. That's the thing. He still hasn't found that form yet. You know, and I think he's good at goal, but he needs that assist. He needs that partner.
He needs that second striker partner to go through.
Right.
And that's fine.
It worked so well for him and Lukaku. They demolished the Serie A. They just wrecked it together. It's a disappointment that he
With the
had to
right
go to
drivers.
Chelsea and end up the way he did. It's a waste of great talent.
Oh,
A year has gone wasted and nothing. He should have just stayed at Inter and like enjoyed the wave. Just keep on playing, keep doing what you're doing. And honestly, if they had Lukaku on their team and they played Liverpool and played the way that they did,
oh, they would have beat. I
they,
think
they
they
would
would have
have
beat
won.
them. Yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
I would honestly say that they could have won. There was a high chance that they could have won. But and speaking of players going to different teams, it's gotten to that point where now players are not making decisions based on rationale. No, it's all emotion. Lukaku wanted to go back to Chelsea to prove a point. He went and it backfired. Other players are going to other teams for the money and it's backfiring big time. Tammy Abraham, he went to Roma because he wanted more, like he was unappreciated and he went to play soccer. He went to play football, right? And he's doing that. He's scoring goals. How many goals has he scored this season? I think it's 14, 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's about that. Let me
Somewhere
pull it up
around
here.
that area. And he's doing great. Fantastic. But these players should start considering their transfers to other teams. If you force a club like Inter to sell you to a club like Chelsea, and then you end up being a substitute, sometimes not even making the roster, you should probably evaluate your decisions going forward. Because now he's pushing for a move back to Inter Milan. And it's just like really that just it looks bad on you as a player. Right?
It
And it's
does,
disrespectful to the team.
It does, unless you're looking and, well, again, to play devil's advocate, maybe you have the move, but at the same time, it was the wrong move, right? If everyone can look and say, this system is not for this player, I know why you want to be here, but this system isn't for you. But at the same time, if you're a team who even the player doesn't fit, you're like, but it's talent. I can make this work, right? Yes, you're making those moves on those aspects, right? But like if I'm Chelsea and Lukaku wants to go to Chelsea, am I really going to look and say, I don't know if he fits? Really? I'm sorry. Bring the 9.
No, but you should. That's the thing. You should be able to say, does he fit? It was like when Real Madrid was buying up every great player they could find. Eventually, they had a bench that matched the starting lineup. And players were just sitting down there. You should always, teams should start considering, does this person fit into our team moving forward? Because Tuchel doesn't need Lukaku. He doesn't need a Lukaku. Lukaku doesn't fit into his playing style.
Tuchel needs healthy players. Okay, let's forget about Lukaku. Get the man some healthy players, and then we can have this conversation.
Some players that will stop partying so much and start working.
It's like he gets one back, he's lost 2. He's like, oh, Timo Werner, Reese, where are you, Reese?
No, but yeah, I'm just saying, like if these good players, no, these great players, before they make moves out of places like Syria and La Liga to go to the Premier League, or make big team decisions like playing for Barcelona instead of playing for a team in the EPL because they think Barcelona is like, it's Barcelona. But they should sometimes evaluate where their stance is and what type of football that they play. Look at Adama Traore.
Yeah,
he went to Barcelona. He could have easily gone to an EPL team and played for them. Right? He's been there for a while. He knows what the teams play like, and he's accustomed to it. Goes to Barcelona. Where is he? He's on the bench.
Yeah, but what was he doing at Wolves? Let's be real. What was he doing at Wolves? He wasn't. That's
what I'm saying. Moves to a team in the EPL because there were teams that wanted him. There were teams that legitimately wanted him.
Fair.
right? So why did he have to make the move all the way to Barcelona? Because it was his childhood dream. He says, "It was my childhood dream to play for Barcelona." But you go there and you're bench warmer.
Hey. Camp Nou still looks. Hey, say what you want about him, okay? He has the best seats in the house, okay? Best seats, okay?
Oh
Don't be
man.
coming. Look, but at the same time, like if a player has a dream to go somewhere, yeah, go do that. But at some point, it's like, when do you want to fulfill your dream? Do you want to fulfill your dream when you're 32, sign you, and then you're on the bench because you can't play, or do you want to go there and you're on the bench because you're a bad fit?
Oh
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if
No,
you
no,
have a
I
dream to do
understand that for
something, go
sure.
do it. But I mean, but not everything is going to work out necessarily in that sense. You need the right system, right? You can't. Not everyone's going to look and say, "Hey, I play like this. This team needs this. I want to go here." Right? Do you think Jack Grealish cared that his position is a bit redundant at Man City? No, he went
What
to
a
Man
waste of a
City.
he's a colossal waste.
Look, I think we're gonna have a show called "What Were You Thinking?" Transfers 2022 edition,
Let's do that.
because
Let's have a show where we're like, what were you thinking? Because there's so many of them, so many examples of great players making the worst transfer decisions of their life.
just this year, not even
Just
like
this year
all
alone.
time. Let's forget the Galacticos of like Real Madrid. Let's do it this year. Let's do it like next week. Hey, next week. That's what we'll
Right?
do next week.
We should do it because it's
What is
ridiculous.
the
Because
worst
sometimes I'm sitting
transfer
down
of the
and I'm
year so
like,
far?
was the money
Oh, for
worth
sure.
it?
Hey.
As an
Hey,
athlete, we,
401k
we
looks
know that
good.
everybody plays for money. We know that.
Yeah.
But to what extent does the money influence you wanting to make a name for yourself and your legacy?
Okay, so here's what I'll say just off: is the money worth it? Look, I think a lot of people looked at money differently after these last 2 years. I honestly think so. So if someone made a move and
Mm.
then they were able to get some money off of it, I'm not going to look at you and be like, this was a terrible choice. You were just in lockdown. Some people are still in lockdown for like 2+ years. Let's not pretend like it's the first chance you had to make an extra dollar. You'll pay me 3 extra. Let me push it just to be sure. I'm not gonna fault the player for that. But it comes down to, were the fits the best fit on the pitch? That is a conversation worth having, and that is next week. So for everyone who's gonna rewatch this, that's next week. We're doing that next week. The worst transfer moves of the season. I want to wait till the end of the year, but let's do it now, so that
Yeah.
when we call someone out, all of a sudden they save their team from relegation. You're like, oh, so now you show up. Fair enough. Money well spent. Money well spent.
Money was spent,
Chris
right?
Wood shows up.
Yeah, and we
Hey,
also
Chris
have to
Wood
look it
going to
from the
Newcastle was a great move.
yeah, and let's also look at it from the team's spending point of view, right? Not only the players deciding that they want to go somewhere, but also the team spending the money on those players, and there's no ROI at all.
Oh, don't worry. Nelson will be doing the Manchester section.
Of
It'll
course.
be the United City, just the United City.
Listen, Man United on its own could be a whole topic.
Man United is a like this. Let's be honest. Man U's like, what do you need? We need a CDM. What do you get? Ronaldo. But why? And not a prime Ronaldo. In a 37, still effective. Like Ronaldo's like a 2016 vehicle, right? It's still good, right? You still got the display screen, but like
Right.
it's
You
not
got the
push. It's not
Bluetooth.
push button. You need it's Bluetooth, but it's not like phone in my car Bluetooth. It's connect to my phone Bluetooth. So is it
I
really
don't know.
Bluetooth?
Like
We
Man
don't know.
United they're just special. A special breed.
Hey. They are united in being questioned.
Exactly. I hope you don't have any United fans here. They'll be fuming.
Hey.
And they'll
Need
always want to
midfield
tell
and
us how
defensive
back in the
help.
day they were the team to look up to.
That's great. That's great. It's 2022. You needed better midfield play, and you signed a striker.
Right? Oh
When
boy.
you already had, Lingard, Rashford, Cavani, Martial,
Oh my.
for the question marks, you had a Greenwood, and you brought in Ronaldo, because nothing says let's fix the midfield like a logjam at forward.
Right?
Nothing.
Oh man. But yeah, we should definitely have that conversation next week for sure. I would like to. I would really
Yeah,
be
we are doing that.
interested
That
in
is
what we
next
come
week's
up with
conversation.
and who we dissect.
After we finish tonight, I am making it. I am making the clip, and we're gonna do it early so that people can be part of the conversation. We're gonna start at like 4, and I don't care, and we'll be like, "What was your your
How
team's
long
worst
it
signing? Let's
takes?
go."
It will be on for 3 hours.
8 hours. We will do it.
Hey, no, no, no. This is not like the Monopoly
Okay, no,
nights.
no, no.
This one we cannot be on for 8 hours.
Oh, no, 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 no. Three, solid three, solid three, solid three.
Solid
Okay,
three is
okay.
fine,
So
I
then,
think.
yes,
But anyway, I have to
man.
jump off. I have other
No,
commitments
no
as
problem, no
well.
problem.
But thank you so much for having me,
Before you
man.
go,
Always a pleasure.
I
Yeah.
have one question for you.
Hmm.
Okay. So when the World Cup draw happened, Inaki Williams' name was trending on Twitter. I thought it was just a Ghanaian thing. No, this was everywhere. People were making videos on it, and I was like, "Really? I thought this was just because it was Ghanaian." No, no, this is a thing. So Inaki Williams was trending because he liked a few congratulatory tweets and Instagram messages for Ghana making the World Cup. Now, Inaki Williams is Ghanaian born, but grew up in Spain,
Hmm.
plays at Bilbao, and it opened the conversation for players coming through, right? Players who might switch their nationalities because they're eligible with the new FIFA rules,
Oh, that's
because
true.
he hasn't played for the national team, right? So Ghana's been going crazy with their wish list, like, bring me Williams, all the William brothers, me Hanadoy, bring me Tariq Lamptey. There's a Ghanaian room. It's like, we can convince Divies to play for us. It's like, no, he's not. Also, he's Liberian. Stop it. Stop it.
Wait,
That's a
so
thing.
he's actually playing for Spain now?
He played. He was capped for Spain like way back, but he hasn't played for Spain in years. Right? He is eligible to one-time switch himself. So the question that I have before you jump off is, if there is one player you could have switch their nationalities and join a company, they have to be eligible for the team.
Mm.
What player would you like to see switch teams? And we can even limit it to World Cup teams here. But I mean, I think there's a very simple answer for me, right? And
Okay.
I'm not going to go Ghanaian because there's so many Ghanaians that we could use. But to me, there's one answer. And like when you remember the story that went with it, you'll remember why you're mad about this.
Okay.
And we talked about him today.
Cool.
It's Traore.
Oh, Jesus. Please don't get me vexed.
It is mental to me because like I had completely forgotten it, and then someone went on a thread who's like, "Why I think people should represent their countries." I'm like, okay, but I mean, you also have to look at like if your FA is not trash, right? If your FA isn't like a cesspool of everything goes wrong. I'm looking at you, Ghana, sometimes. So like, but the Traore story is mental to me, where he gets his cap. They tell him, "Hey, you're going to play." He's going to play, and then Spain just says, "We want him." No,
Right? And they don't even play him. He's just there. He could
it is mental to me.
he could play beside Keita. What is he, Malian, right?
Yeah,
He's Malian. He could play beside Keita. Keita is from Mali.
you're
No.
you're telling me that he couldn't have helped Mali against Tunisia, where they lost 1-0 on aggregate. 1-0.
Right? The speed that he provides.
My
Oh
goodness.
man, and the fear he puts into players. No, Keita's from Guinea. Oh boy. But yeah, he could have helped Mali.
Yo, No, he's from Guinea. He still, he would have been there. He would have been an option. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Whatever. I got the countries wrong. The point is, it's
We got the country.
mental. Wrong
You could
country.
have
It's
helped
okay. It's
Mali.
okay. We're back in. Yes, he's from Guinea. It doesn't matter. He would have helped them. but like, there's so many. There are so many of them. Like, even if you like, let's look at England. This one is like Canadian, kind of is there. Fikayo Tomori, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tomori was eligible for Nigeria, Canada, and England because of time spent there.
And playing in the division.
His 3 years were coming up. Okay. Yeah. And his 3 years were coming up. So England called him up, played him for at the 5 minutes at the end of the Andorra match, and they haven't called him back since. He's probably not going to a World Cup. And I'm like, the Canadians are like, yo, man, what are you doing? You could have been at 2
Just
World
come
Cups.
over.
Guaranteed.
Right? And you're guaranteed a spot to play. Like, Canada wants it bad. Anybody who's eligible to play for Canada should come play for Canada because they get playtime. They get play.
Oh, hey,
they'll get so many minutes.
Easy. There are positions.
If they're eligible to play for Canada, I'm saying come. Because Canada's hungry.
Honestly.
They're very hungry at this point.
We just need a some depth players and everything coming. Yeah, so please. I don't mind. Please. But like, the opportunities that you have versus you don't, and I get some people, it's a thing, right? Everyone wants to be like, yeah, if you're in England, being able to be called up to the national program is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to downplay that, but
yeah, and you know what? I actually like how the groups are spread out because there's no actual group of death. You know, there's no legit actual group of death. It's so thinned out. In every group, there's maybe 1 or 2 teams that are like great.
Though I will say there was the one group that I look at here where I say nothing would surprise me. Any 2 teams in this group would not surprise me. Group H. Period.
Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea.
Son, the ghost of Luis Suarez. whatever Ghana brings in, and Ronaldo's last run. If you tell me right now, yo, this group is gonna be Uruguay and Korea, I'll be like, that's not a surprise.
Yeah, but Ghana's not part of that. Just so we're clear, Ghana's not part of that.
If you told me Ghana, Uruguay, I would not be surprised.
No,
You,
Akwasi, I
Gambia,
love you like
Gambia,
a brother.
Gambia,
you are my
Gambia,
brother. Ghana
Gambia.
is not making it past that group. We have already established that. Please don't try to change it. Do not lie to our viewers that Ghana has any prospects whatsoever to make it in this World Cup. They were lucky to get there.
Man. Oh, we are lucky. Hey, we are lucky. Hey, Gambia, what's a World Cup like? Tell me. You're from Gambia. What's it like to make a World Cup? Tell me about it. Tell me about what it feels.
You know
like.
what?
Yeah. This is our 4th one. Okay, our 4th one in 5 World Cups. 4th. Okay. You just made AFCON. You just made the Cup of Nations. Okay, you just made the Cup of Nations.
We know that we won't make it far, so we just don't attempt it. We don't even try. We just stop. We stopped embarrassing ourselves years ago. Ghana should take notes. If I'm not mistaken, Ghana should take notes because we all know how it's going to play out.
I don't know. No, that group, I honestly believe any 2 teams from that group can come out, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
That's the only group I say that to. I think legitimately.
Okay.
It's the only group I say that to. Maybe Group A because I don't know if I trust the Netherlands. I don't know if I trust them.
They're the host country, but we know they don't have a team.
Yeah, but it's FIFA, man. Do you remember what happened to remember South Korea, Japan? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that? I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying there is precedent.
Listen, this is a new FIFA. This is a new FIFA under new management.
Under new management? Is it the same management that said we want it and we want it here? What?
Oh, wait.
Qatar. That management? That new management?
Will be able to play. That's the country that they took it to. Those stadiums, they must have like ACs blasting on high throughout the entire day.
Imagine AC. AC at the World Cup, that's your concern. Not
Yes.
driving to the match, just AC.
You know,
Imagine.
they found they were like, oh, we don't have, we should find somewhere proper to put a nice big stadium. They're like, oh, let's go put it in the middle of the desert. That place is fantastic. There's lots of sand. You don't have to pay for sand. You just go find a heap of it and just shovel away. But so here's the thing. I'm not sure, but the Egypt FA has petitioned for a rematch against Senegal, and they might be successful. They might be.
If they do, okay, even if they do, and I'll be perfectly honest, I don't see Egypt winning that match. Period. Even if it's just a one-game playoff, stylistically, I don't see them winning that match.
I see them winning it. Honest to God, I see them winning it because they're going to go in it with a different kind of hunger. I mean, how many teams get a second chance to get into the World Cup?
Okay.
Because you can all agree that if even the appeal, they're going to win it because it's evident. They have video proof that Senegal was just being a terrible host.
Mohammed, what do you mean they have video proof? It was on YouTube. The game looked like a disco.
Right?
There were green dots. Imagine, Mo, middle of the afternoon, and it looked like a disco.
Right? Like that was laser upon laser upon laser. They were stacked on top of each other. You couldn't see more because they were stacked on top of each other. It's ridiculous.
The game is free on YouTube. Go rewatch it and look at the pitch. You just see lights. It's like, is this the Grammys? Right? Who's performing?
No, they're gonna win that appeal. I am pretty sure that they're gonna win that appeal, and they'll get a second chance at it.
No, but here's my honest feeling on it. Right? I don't want Egypt at the World Cup, and it stylistically, no.
Why?
No.
Why? They deserve a chance. I think Egypt will be great at the World Cup.
No.
I'm only saying that because I'm a Mo Salah fan.
And, so you know. and you can say that. That's fine. But stylistically, Senegal versus Egypt, come on. In that group, Egypt would sit back and try to counter Qatar. No. I want an African team. Look, Mo. I put my money on Senegal to get furthest for African teams, okay? If you take them from me, do you know what that means that we have to rely on for African teams? Do you know who that means we have to rely on?
Ghana?
Yeah, okay? And I have faith in them. No one else does. No one.
Nobody has faith in them. But isn't Morocco playing too?
Oh yeah, Morocco's in Canada's group. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a whole conversation. The amount of people.
Morocco too, man, and Cameroon.
Cameroon's not leaving their group. Let's be real.
No, we all know they're not leaving their group. Those days are gone.
Yeah, there's Eto'o is not coming out of retirement to save them. Okay? He is not.
They are done for.
Truly, but Senegal in that group is your best chance for a deep run because it's them. And if they come out, they're playing what? The first place team of Group B. It's them against England, probably, or let's go darkest timeline, the U.S. because it's darkest timeline because if they top that group, we will hear about it for years to come. Just like in 2010 when they're like, we topped the group with England, and then you lost to Ghana. Yeah, say that part. Say that part, Landon Donovan.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you have a point. I should probably support my Senegalese brothers because they're going to hear this at some point and know I'm Gambian. But they know I don't like them. They know we don't like them. They don't like us. So, boo to them.
Look,
for
stylistically.
That was not necessary.
Look, stylistically, I think they have the best players in Africa right now. They have the best keeper.
Good players. They don't have the best players. They have good players.
They have the best keeper.
Yes. Hands down. They have the best keeper. No word of a lie. They have the best keeper.
And and like and a team and yeah, Morocco gets overlooked here, and like that's a whole conversation with because the Canadian in me, like the amount of people I saw on Twitter who were like, "Yo, we beat Morocco, we maybe surprise Croatia, and we tie Belgium, and we're on to the next round." And I'm like,
Yeah.
you realize you're talking about Morocco, right? Like
But hey,
they're
here's the
not
thing though. They
bad.
made it. They made it to the World Cup fair and square. Right? So we
Morocco's
have
not
to
a
give them
bad.
props for that. They made it to the World Cup fair and square.
But like that's the thing. Like Morocco gets the bad rap as like, oh, it's just Morocco. It's like, no, look at the actual team. Look at their players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hakimi is the best right back in the world, probably.
That's
Okay,
a strong statement, Akwasi. That's a strong
and
statement.
then I'm fine saying it. I'm fine
Okay.
saying it. But it's just like the whole idea, that whole concept of like, if you look at their roster and you're like, yeah, they got players playing everywhere. Okay. Don't disrespect them for just because you think, oh, it's Morocco from like 8 years ago. No. Morocco's
Okay,
good. I know.
that's fair. That is true. That is true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but anyway, I have
Yeah.
to jump off, and we'll continue this conversation next week, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Next week we're doing worst transfer moves
Yes,
everywhere.
yes,
Oh.
everywhere.
And we'll make sure Nelson
I'll
does
get my long
Manchester,
list ready.
City, just the whole city. Everyone in Manchester gets, I don't care, championship level, League Two, everyone in Manchester.
Everybody.
Nelson got to do that.
All right.
Okay,
All right,
yo,
man.
thanks
Thank
for
you so much.
stopping by,
Appreciate
man. I
it. You
appreciate it.
take care. All right.
No
Talk to you next
problem.
week. Okay,
Yep.
bye.
Bone 6,000. How are you doing, my man? Thank you for stopping by, guys. Everyone stopping by. This is an interesting question that we had, and if you aren't familiar with it, I'll get it to you again. So, World Cup draw happened, and Inaki Williams' name is trending. I thought it was just because I was following Ghanaian folks, but it was actually everywhere. I saw people making videos on this, and it was just like, interesting. And the long and short of it is, Inaki Williams grew up in Spain. He was Ghanaian born, but grew up in Spain. He's been capped by the Spanish national team. And because he liked it, it's open conversations where he could maybe switch over and represent Ghana, which would be a great spot because Ghana has not, they've scored one goal from their strikers in the World Cup qualifiers. And I think the question I want to ask is if there was one player who was eligible and is playing for, could switch over to your national team right now, who would you pick and why? Right? It's really that simple. I know for the Canadian aspect, there are easy answers. There's Tamori because you like that center back depth. Maybe some of the youth players coming through. Maybe if you want to have a goalie, you can say Bonu, who's playing from Morocco. That would be an interesting aspect. But that's a question that I'm wondering how people feel about that. But yeah, it'll definitely be in the comments as well. So feel free to put that in there as well. But no, World Cup is there. Yes, Egypt is appealing. As Mo said before he jumped off, Egypt is appealing the matchup. It is free on YouTube, so if you want to see why they're appealing, just watch and tell me when you start watching the soccer match and not the disco match, because there were lights everywhere. It was bad, fair play wise. But it'll definitely be interesting on that aspect to see what's going on. And the last thing that is happening this week that I totally forgot was happening, Champions League. Champions League is happening this week. We got matchups on Tuesday and Wednesday. You got Benfica, Liverpool. You have Man City at Madrid, Atletico. You have Villarreal and Bayern. And then you have Chelsea and Real Madrid. Those are four interesting matchups that go. I think based off of gut, I think I'm choosing just to win this first leg. I'm going Liverpool, though I'm not going to sleep on Benfica. Benfica's done enough for me to respect them in this tournament. Madrid had a good outing, but I think I'm going to go City. So I'm going to go Liverpool, City, Bayern, and surprising, based off of one result this week, maybe they're off kilter and they're not feeling it. I'm going to go Madrid winning the first leg. So we're going Bayern Madrid on Wednesday, but Liverpool, City on Tuesday. You guys let me know who you think might have. Yes, who you have in those Champions League aspects. Mark, thank you for stopping by. Oh, yeah, for me, it's 100% Tamori. I'm wondering if there's another player that we're overlooking that could, right? Bonu, for example, the keeper, who's the Moroccan keeper, is Canadian Moroccan. So he would have been eligible but chose Morocco. Maybe having that player with some more additional depth could have helped. I don't know if he plays, if Herdman plays him over Boyan, but it's definitely a nice shout because he is a player that we're definitely looking at for sure. No, I'm wondering who else we have who's Canadian eligible. Because like the easy answer would be like aspects of players that we can get through. But that's where it's like we get into a full conversation about the Canadian squad where, and I know you're here, Mark, and Bone, if you're still here, what is the I want to make a video about this and I want to get someone to go back and forth with this because what is Canada's best lineup that maximizes the players that they have? That's a whole conversation because the 3-5-2 puts Davies in the best position. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know for the players. That's true. But do we need him though? Do you want Michael Bradley, Mark, right now? Do you? I saw. Funny you say that. I watched someone who said who scanned his best lineup, and they had Michael Bradley playing, and I thought to myself, no. Do we want this? Do we want this? I know Mike's been here forever, but is we're allowed to dream bigger than Michael Bradley, with all due respect to Michael Bradley, right? We can dream bigger than that, right? We're allowed to. Yeah, we should be. I think now it's where you pull out the list. Man, because like you have Eustachio there, you have Frazier there, developing at Venezia, you have Damiano Pichile there. You don't need Michael Bradley. I mean, at this point, Michael Bradley, you're looking at him and you're thinking the whole Atiba experiment where you're putting Michael Bradley as the center back and saying, yeah, let's do that. I don't think you need that player, but no, for sure. I think that would be the interesting question. No, that's true. And I asked which player you can get to switch nationalities because, man, the fact that this World Cup, and I think every World Cup video I ever do or I'm on, I'm going to say the same thing, which is the time. We have so much more time. If this World Cup was happening in the summer, oh, I feel good about my chances. No, Flores would be interesting, or getting say like a Mitrovic to commit would be fun there. Even like also forgotten in that conversation, Lucas Diaz, right? Who I know he's played youth, he's played U23 for Canada, he's played some U20, U17, but Lucas Diaz would be like an ideal name that gets overlooked in that attacking midfield to winger range. Flores would be nice. I think I look forward. I know I don't think he's leaning towards Canada, but I think from an outside standpoint, it'd be interesting. I think if Flores had committed earlier, for example, when you have before Pepe cooled off like a winter night, right? But like if you had Pepe who was playing well, and then you had Flores who committed, and then you had two big names that the FMF couldn't get, I think from that standpoint, that would have been an interesting conversation. But right now, I mean, Pepe looks like he had a party. He's got to get himself out of this funk. But no, I don't think Flores is committing. I do think, my personal opinion, I think people in Flores' camp are trying to get him onto the team for Qatar, and they're doing whatever they can to do it. So I think on that aspect, it's definitely something that people are watching. But no, that'd be interesting. I think there's a lot of players all over the place that you can say, man, it would have been nice. I think like if I take Ghana for example, who would I want to switch over for Ghana? Everyone, everyone Ghana could have, I would take. Right? Inaki Williams came up. Striker would be great for them. Yeah. No, that's a very fair point. I think they may have to find some ones, or they're going to have to. Hmm. I think my honest opinion, I think if we trusted our depth a bit more, I don't know if we would be having this conversation. Do I think Derek Cornelius is the answer? No. I think he's a serviceable player who could fill the role, though. No, but yeah, Ghana. I mean, the story with Ghana's team though is interesting because if you think dysfunctional FAs, just look at what happened with Ghana after the Cup of Nations. But no, let's deal with the center backs here first. I think if Canada had used their center back depth better, because I think ideally Victoria is the player you want. I think ideally if Victoria was like 3 years younger, that'd be great. Ideally, if you're going four at the back and you're playing either Atakubi and Larea as your fullbacks, give me honestly, give me Kennedy and Victoria. Honestly, Victoria more stay at home. Kennedy had a little bit more movement, but can play. I think we have center back depth, and I think that's if we want to go into on that stream, that's where I think that last window disappointed me. We experimented, but we experimented with things, and the Atiba at center back is maybe because we want to see we don't have as many right-footed. We have a lot of left-footed center backs, which is fine. There's no issue with that, but why bring depth if you're not going to use it? Especially when you only needed one result. You got the one result. You were going for another result. You want to experiment, that's fine, but bring Cornelius. If you're going to bring Cornelius, who's in form, play him. Kennedy, play him more than just one game, right? Because I think there are players who can perform. But they just haven't been given the opportunity. And I think if we're actually looking at the pool now and seeing what we have, I think that becomes an interesting conversation as to which players are playing well, which players are playing in form, and what type of team that we have, which is where I go back to the original question I was thinking about. What is ideally, yeah. And again, I think I have more time to think about it. That's the thing. If this World Cup was in the summer, I'd feel confident and nervous. I'd feel confident because I know the form the team's been in, and I know how other teams are playing. I'd be nervous because I'd have to hope that Victoria's in form. I have to hope that other players are in form. Right? If I'm looking at this team, it's like, okay, Belgium, Lukaku hasn't looked right this year. Maybe he looks better with the Belgium shirt. De Bruyne's looked better. Tielemans has looked better. So there's like reasons to be optimistic, reasons not to be on that aspect. But because it's not till November, yeah, you have plenty of time. I'm a firm believer in this aspect that I think there's a major contributor on the team who hasn't been given major minutes as of yet. Right. Yeah. And that's definitely a fair thing. No, every team in the group is good, right? Morocco is good, Belgium is good, Croatia is good, but Canada is also good. So I think, yeah, it's it's a conversation where you're at the World Cup, guys. We're not gonna find You're not gonna find an out of form Panama or a out of form Panama is not the right one because they just beat Canada, right? We're at the World Cup. You're not going to see a dysfunctional Jamaica or a slow or a questionable Honduras there. Everyone there earned their way there. So every team has quality across the board, right? So seeing how Belgium plays and seeing that that's your first matchup, I think if you want to go by formula basis, I mean, your first matchup is a good litmus test, and then from there, realize that there are levels to it, right? It's like your first game, you realize, okay, we're in the heavyweights, cool. And now we have to bring up the level that we're bringing up and going. Like, think of it as the Nations League with the States. You beat them, you go down there, and then you have that result where the U.S. wins 4-1. And at that point, you have a conversation. Okay, there's levels to this. You can't just be here. Now you have to raise the intensity and raise the execution level. So start off with Belgium, definitely. Yeah, there's things to worry about that team. There's no doubt about that. But we're at the World Cup, right? This isn't the National Invitational Tournament. We're at the World Cup. I think starting the season is going to be interesting. And I think that's where it gets interesting. So we have the summer, and then we have the beginning of the season. So you can have players who maybe end off hot this year, but then start off cold, and vice versa. I think my bold prediction is I think there's two players who make this team as major contributors who've had less than 3 caps with the squad. We'll go actually 3 caps is a very limited number. But I'm actually going to switch this. I'm going to go less than 5 caps because I think Theo is going to factor into this roster. I think Theo could, if Theo starts off hot, which then goes back to the original question. Raheem's got time, but it depends on what the roster size is, right? Because if Raheem can continue to play well, we've seen him play well in the MLS. That's great. I think seeing Raheem at Nations League against maybe the second pot B team, our pot 2 team, if he's able to do that, I think they can have legitimate Theo or Raheem conversations. No, but yeah, Theo was a good shout in that aspect. But I mean, this is where, to spoil it, I think our best lineup to take advantage of our team is a 3-4-3 or a 4-4-2, truthfully. Because the one thing with the 3-5-2 is it's ideal for, say, Davies coming as a wing back or playing in the mid. But then that's your only width that you have. Everything else is in the midfield. And you have to stay compact. Like maybe this is me thinking at some point Liam Miller's Basel form will convert to the national team. It will. Maybe that's me just still on that train, and I truly believe that. But more midfielders, more fullbacks who can play up, plus wingers, I think that pace really does go through. Look at Canada, for example, at Azteca versus that team. That game to me was just, if you don't appreciate what Larea does, especially paired off with Davies on that same left side, it's like you're missing the point. The same way where you could have Buchanan and then whoever is going to pair off with him there. I think the best, but then the problem if you go with a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1, right? If you have that, then what that becomes is then who do you sit versus who do you start as a striker? Because we spent the entire time trying to see if we can get 2 strikers playing with both Laren and David. And if you're doing that, if you're playing a 3-4-3 or a 4-2-3-1, you can, if you play a 4-2-3-1, what you could do in theory is you could play David underneath Laren and then still have Tejan and Davies on your wings, then have Lorraine at Akubi, but then you'd have to have good depth. So that means probably a Theo factors in and a Miller factors in so that you can take off players and you're relying on the flexibility of both Davies and Tejan to either drop back as fullbacks and let some more attacking players going through. No, agreed. If he's able to figure that out, man, it opens the door. And like, there's an alternate reality where he scores against Jamaica and he takes off. There's a different reality where that happens, but hasn't happened as of yet. But man, if you can get a player like that to really turn it up, that would be really exciting, I think, on that aspect. But that's where, going back to the conversation, I think a 4-2-3-1 with David as your 10, but really more your second striker because he drops the most. And you saw that against Jamaica, and you saw that in that last, not the previous window, where he would drop, get engaged, and then just start going from there. So I think that will probably be your best lineup. But then that means you need the right type of players, which means you're hoping Alistair Johnson can survive as a right back. You're maybe hoping that you can sub on one of either Theo or our boy Liam as a winger, and then you drop back Davies as a left back and let him move up or move back. Center backs, you need good movement there. And then in the midfield, you want to trust the Tiba if you need to have him. At the same time, it's Eustachio and whoever else can come from there. But yeah, I want to eventually start doing breakdowns from every group and getting people and talking on that so we can have fun conversations there. But man, there is a lot going on. It is 8:15. We are going to wrap this up because I got to record my. There's a lot of football happening this week. So to give you guys an update on what's going to be happening on this channel, I've already recorded and but I'm saying flexibility, Mark. I'm saying flexibility. Anime song, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I think from a flexibility standpoint, where Johnston can be a center back and a right back. So if you have to take off Lorea, you can move that player out and bring on a center back. And then you have Johnson as a right back there. And that saves you a player in theory. But that's a lot of pace. That's a lot of pace you have to deal with versus that. So, yeah. Man, this week, everything that's happening this week. Let's see. Nations League draw is tomorrow. I have a video on the celebration tour for the ladies. With Bev for the celebration tour on the 8th and 11th. That's coming out on Tuesday. We have this week Champions League. I'll be watching that. I'll have probably 3 or 4 lives I'll be doing with JD on IMAX. So you'll find me there. And then the U20, I think the U20 roster is going to be dropping this week. So there's going to be a video breaking that down. That's always exciting. And then we're really going to start going through every group and seeing if we can find some content creators on them. Just kind of break down teams. If I can do, 32 players, 32 teams. Oh, no. I'm not at that level yet. Eventually, one day, we hope. But no, there is some stuff that I've been doing with on the women's side where we are trying to get in contact with some players and doing some interviews and packaging those up here. So that is definitely something we are working on. Nothing has been confirmed as of yet, but it's definitely something we're working on. So eventually those will be things that we'll also be doing here because I want to follow all Canada sports, so all Canada football or soccer here. So men's, women's, X, youth, we're going to be following it on that aspect. So we're working on some things and there's some content. I've done some content with people looking at that. So I did a preview and a post for the Arnold Clark Cup on podcast form with W Soccer. That's if you aren't following there, they basically have a breakdown of all the women eligible players in Europe and across the world. So feel free to do that and check that out. But yeah, there's a lot happening from a Canada soccer standpoint this week. And we're definitely going to be trying to cover that. But there's a lot of people who are covering that as well, right? From Northern Podcast, from Josh, JJD TV, now at One Soccer. Congrats on him for that too. So yeah, a lot of content coming up every day this week. Probably you'll see me on YouTube, if not on a recorded video, but definitely on a live on IMAX at talking all things CONCACAF as well. So guys, thank you so much. I do need to jet out today because I have to record my post window analysis, which you'll find on podcast form probably later on tonight. So be on the lookout for that. The links are in my description and my about page on YouTube. But guys, thank you for spending some time. Next week, we are going to look at bad transfers that we've seen this year in the Prem, or just all football overall. So if you got a bad transfer that you kind of left you scratching your head, put a pin in them, bring them out next week. We're probably going to start it early. We're not going to go as late as 7 where we started this week. We're probably going to start it early, probably maybe about 4 or 5. But yeah, guys, thank you for everyone who stopped by. If you like this content, give us a subscribe. But yeah, we will definitely talk later. But until then, bye-bye for now.